which we'll be considering few more points related to this parameters of wave propagation. Now we'll be discussing about the optical frequency. So this optical frequency is always said to be as a predictional frequency, which has been taken out on an average or monthly average of maximum usable frequency. So 85% of the predicted maximum usable frequency, as there is daily variation of 15% from its mean value, will be considered as optimum frequency. So here the optimum frequency is completely said to be as 50 to 85% of maximum usable frequency is used to accommodate the number of channels, or simply 85% of the maximum usable frequency on a prediction of monthly average of maximum usable frequency. Now, if maximum usable frequency is going to vary, in the same way the optimum frequency is also going to be varied. So it is necessary to use at least two frequencies, one for the day and one for the night, to have a continuous communication. So if third frequency is also can be considered here for transition period, because in order to predict we need to have these three frequencies that are being required for us. Once these three frequencies are being effectively utilized in daytime and nighttime and for the transition period, then obviously on a monthly average we'll be able to take the maximum usable frequency region by which we will be calculating this optimum frequency. So in night time, generally the vertical height of the ionosphere layer increases than in daytime. So the skip distance too increases and is cancelled by the use of lower frequencies. So for the daytime, the frequencies to be selected will be 15% to 20% lower than the average of optimum frequency for the entire daytime. So optimum frequency will be helpful for us in predicting what is the amount of frequency that we need to use at daytime. Next, moving on to the another concept is ionospheric abnormalities. So what is the term itself says? So these are the disturbances that are going to be created in ionosphere region through which the signals are going to get affected. So how many types of abnormal situations or the abnormalities are being there, in which the first one is sudden ionospheric disturbances. So what is that is, this appears, or simply we can say that this is a complete phenomenon of blackout, or else which is being appeared due to solar flares. And it is first observed by the scientist Mongel and Dillinger, and it is also known to be as Mongel and Dillinger effect. And at this particular effect, the very low frequencies propagate, propagation of very low frequencies improves a lot. And moreover, this is caused due to the intensive UV light from the solar flares, which penetrates the upper ionosphere region and cause strong increase in the ionization of the D region. And whereas the second abnormality is ionospheric storms, and these are the disturbances which are being correlated with rapid and excessive fluctuations. Associated with magnetic storms. So ionospheric storms are always correlated with rapid and excessive fluctuations associated with magnetic storms, and these are going to show the effect on shortwave radio transmission and to narrow the frequency range. During this, signal strength is going to drop out and fluctuate very rapidly. So that is ionospheric storms. And the third abnormality is sunspot cycle. So the number of sunspot changes over a cycle from minimum to maximum and again to minimum is called sunspot cycles and has a mean period of 11.1 years. Critical frequencies of ionosphere are the highest during this sunspot maxima and lowest during sunspot minima. And the fourth abnormality is tides and winds. So the F2 layer has the highest speed of tidal motions as it is having the lowest particle density. And this tidal effects causes small peak of maximum ionization density of about midnight. It means that we will be having only a small peak of maximum density. And winds in the ionosphere are due to tides itself. So these always defined on the observational motion of noctilucent clouds and motion of ionized meteor trails. And the fifth abnormality is fadings. The term itself says fading is nothing but fluctuation in the received signal strength or random variation in the received signal. It is an undesirable variation in the signal intensity or loudness of the waves received at the receiver. It is the common character in any skywave propagation. It is being caused due to the interference of two waves which are coming from two different paths. And fading can be recovered. There are several types of fadings here. One of them is selective fading, which is going to produce a series distortion of the modulated signal, and it is always present at high frequencies. It means the AM signals are more distorted. And interference fading is the other one, which is introduced because of the interferences between upper and lower rays of skywave. And it is also because of the fluctuations of the heights in the ionospheric layer we will be having this interference fading. It can be minimized by using space diversity and frequency diversity receptions. And another type of fading is absorption fading. So it is also occurred in the variation of signal strength with different amount of absorption of waves which are absorbed by medium. And another type of fading is polarization fading. It occurs due to change of polarization of downcoming sky waves. It is always caused by the superposition of ordinary and extraordinary waves which are oppositely polarized. And the other one is skip fading. It occurs at distances near the skip distance. Any variation in height or density of an ionized layer may move receiving point in out of skip zone. So the most common technique to minimize these types of fadings is to use automatic volume control in the receiver, because as they create much noise and interferences that could be eliminated by this automatic volume control, or else by using some diversity technique. And the other abnormality which we need to discuss is whistlers. The term itself says whistling, that is a transient electromagnetic disturbance, are always said to be as whistlers, and these are associated with pulses of audio frequency radiation propagation along the lines of earth magnetic field between conjugate points in the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. So these whistlers will be long, short and noisy also, but they provide a study of composition about the upper atmosphere. And another abnormality is Luxembourg effect or ionospheric cross modulation. These interferences are occurred only in two transmitting stations where same circle bearing the receiver, means within the same span, if I am having two receivers, then the two transmitting stations were nearly in the same circle, then it creates some interferences. And as well as the interferences between a receiving station to a non-transmitting station is also said to be as cross modulation. So the only cure for this is there is need to be reduction of proportion of sky wave. So this cross modulation is occurred between two radio frequency signal inside the ionosphere, and the modulation of unwanted signal is superimposed on a desired signal, and it is said to be as interference to us. And another abnormality is statics and atmospheric noise or atmospherics. So this is the simplest, the term itself says it is the noise picked up by the antenna due to natural causes in the climate. So that will be called to be as atmospheric noise or atmospheric. Here the field strength of static from nearby thunderstorm is on an average inversely proportional to the frequency. Thus energy in the static decreases as the frequency is increased. So most of the static is observed at the low frequencies. The higher is the frequency, the lower will be the atmospherical effects. And here also we will be having interferences that is going to be observed if an airplane is been passing through this during rain or snow. The airplane automatically becomes electrically charged to such high potential with respect to surrounding space that we will be calling it as corona discharge, that breaks out at sharp point on the plane. So in some of the movies that we had seen, that when a cloud or thunderstorms are going to occur, at that time when the plane is been moving, the plane is going to crash or break up into two pieces. We will be saying that here in technical we will be calling it as corona discharge. Due to that it is going to have the impact. So it may be reduced by using some insulating wires or shielded loops. And the another abnormality is man-made noise. It is always generated due to the electrical appliances and the electrically operated devices. It is always a hiss type or else impulse type. So these are needed to be minimized by using the simplest way of line filters. And the last abnormality is polar cap absorption. The term itself says polar cap. So the disturbances which are being carried throughout the polar region in high geomagnitude latitudes, and these creates high energy solar protons which are guiding the Earth's magnetic field towards the polar region. So these are very much maximum at solar sunspot when the solar sunspot occurs. So these abnormalities are needed to be minimized a lot. Thank you.